More junk. I got a couple more mowers here today. This one is just some piece of crap MTD with a seized up engine, so it's junk. But this one is a commercial walk behind 48-inch Lesco, and it's got a Cowie motor that runs smooth. I started it up first pull, but it does have some other issues. I'm kind of excited about this one because I'm not really sure what's wrong with it, but I know the engine runs good. So I have found a few issues. That center spindle shouldn't do that, and the drive belts are taken off, so I'm wondering if there's a problem there. But if I can get it fixed, if I can find parts and whatnot, I could probably sell this for a pretty penny, because it looks like it's in decent shape. It's not completely wrecked. There's no hour meter on it, so I don't know how many hours it has, but you know, it runs good and it looks pretty good. So if we can fix it, we might be in the money. So let's get this in the garage, get these things off, get that thing pushed out of there, because it's junk as far as I'm concerned, and then take a look at this and see what all is going on. Well, I got the Lesco here off the truck, as you can see, and I've begun to tear into it. And the major issue this thing had was this spindle. I don't know how well you're going to be able to see it rock back and forth there, but that spindle is no good. And I've been looking around trying to figure out if I can rebuild it, and it doesn't look like they make the kit for it anymore. And Lesco, I guess, was sold to John Deere years ago, and yeah, it's kind of hard to find parts for them, but I managed to find the part, this whole spindle assembly, for like 44 bucks, 45 bucks or whatever. So that can be replaced. The blades look good. They're still in pretty good shape as far as I can tell. Sharpen them up and they should be fine. This belt here is toast, the short one. The other one still looks good enough to work anyway, but this one's pretty cracked up and chunked out. So it'll need a new belt for sure. This idler pulley here is pretty darn noisy, and I found the one that they recommend, and they want like 40 bucks for it, so screw that. I'm gonna keep looking around, see if I can find one the right size for a little bit cheaper. And also notice that the tensioner for this is broken, and it's kind of hard to find that part, but luckily all it is an eye bolt. So I'll go to a hardware store, buy an eye bolt, put it in there, and it'll work fine. The other thing is this bushing here for that idler arm is pretty well wore out. I don't think she's any good no more, so I can still get those. They're about 5 bucks, so not a big deal. I went ahead and hooked up the belts, pulled the cord, drove it around a little bit. It seems to drive okay. The transmission seems a little noisy, but it did move forward and reverse and everything. Seemed to work, but one thing I did notice is this whole plate is kind of tweaked over. So I think what I'm going to do is go ahead and replace these two big bolts here to kind of straighten that up. And I'll have to do some smithy work on that, get that straightened out. And I'll probably do that before I buy any parts, and then drive it around some and make sure it's going to work okay. Also, I'm going to have to bend this shifter handle back, because once you get it all the way in fifth, it kind of jams up in there because it's been bent. It looks like they ran into it or something. But the thing runs like a dream. I'll just give it a quick tune-up, I think, which won't be too much, you know. Oil change, plugs, air filter, fuel filter, that sort of thing. But the thing runs awesome. So as long as I don't find much else wrong with it, and I can get a hold of a little bit cheaper pulley here, I think we'll be all right, and we'll have a halfway decent mower. But I'm going to go ahead and try to straighten that out, see if I can find some bolts to put in there, because it looks like they've been bent, but they're just regular bolts, so that's not a big deal. I can get those at the hardware store. And then once I got that straightened out, we'll drive it around and make sure that transmission doesn't have any weird things going on with it, and maybe we'll start ordering other parts. Well, I've gone ahead and I've taken this thing off and kind of straightened it up a little bit, squared it up, and seems to work okay. Works better than it did before. The spring was kind of close to that and it was rubbing, and yeah, it was just a little bit crooked, but much better now. And I went ahead and I fired it up and drove it around and pulled it up hills, and the transmission seems to work fine. It's a little noisy, but it works. So I'm thinking I'm going to call that good. I think I'll go ahead and fire this up now and you can hear it run. And then maybe I'll drive it around a little bit. Well, it runs pretty good. Probably needs just a little tune-up, but other than that, I don't see any problem with it. Well, it takes a little getting used to, but I think if it can pull me around on a sled in 5th gear in wet grass, I think the transmission works good. Well, now that I'm fairly certain that the drive system is okay on this thing, I'm probably going to go ahead and order up the parts I need to fix it. So this spindle, this belt, this pulley, the bar there, the tensioner for this pulley, and this bushing, and that should take care of it. I'm thinking that's about it for the deck, and then of course tune up on the engine there, oil change and plugs and filters and all that fun stuff. And I think the next video you see, I'll probably be putting the parts in it, hopefully, unless I find something else wrong with it.